Hey guys, so this episode this week, we are just going to walk you through the setup and seed starting for your 2023 garden. So we got these two greenhouses over a period of years. The one that I'm cleaning right now, and I'm just vacuuming debris because these eventually will go outside when I harden off my seedlings. And so, of course, being outside for a few months, the straggler is that we don't get in the ground right away, just stay in here. And so this greenhouse, although we do try to keep it as clean as possible, some dirt and stuff gets brought in with it. So here I am just vacuuming and cleaning it up. But basically, I'm just going to walk you through the different things that I did this weekend on getting my seed started. And this is just the first video that you're going to see. I started about, I would say probably 200 seeds this weekend, which you'll see in this video. About 1/3 of the way through with my seed starting, I got my peppers in. We are in zone 7A here in Pennsylvania, and I'm a little bit behind on my peppers. It's been crazy, and so I'm about a week and a half behind to my standards. Obviously, everybody can start when they really want to. I just prefer to have a harvest of peppers kind of, towards the middle to the end of the summer. I don't like waiting until, the end of August, even September and early October to get the stragglers. I like to have my peppers canned and done. So, and I'm just going to apologize. I am doing voiceover right now, but I do have kids that are awake. So if you hear anything, I do apologize. But this is the life of a mom of 3. So as you can see here, I'm just making sure the greenhouse is all set up. There are ties that need to get tied, which I'm doing here. My son is excited. He loves helping me with the seed starting. There he is. There's Thomas. And so what I want to talk to you about today too is that everybody has their own way to start seeds, their own way to garden. And I think it's really important to note that the way that you're going to see me do it is not the only way. I'm sure there are better ways, but this is the way that I have learned and have taught myself over the years to do seed starting. And I really prefer this method, but we're constantly learning, guys. And as you know, if you've been following us in our other podcasts, we just recently last year started a new method of gardening called Back to Eden Gardening, which is where you don't rototill. And our whole lives, we rototilled. We spent hours and hours of backbreaking work weeding their garden, and we would rototill it, and then we would get our plants in, and then 2 days later the soil would be hard as a rock again, and we were like, why did we even do that? But now we're doing the Back to Eden gardening, and it's wonderful. Yeah, so now we're doing the Back to Eden gardening, which is where you put wood chips, fresh wood chips down. And, the first year they say not to expect too much while the soil kind of reacclimates to, just being disturbed like that. But it's been really great. We actually did really well last year, and we're looking forward to this year. So here you can see, these are the lights that I use, guys. And all of the products that you're seeing today are going to be linked under this video in our Amazon storefront. So everything's in one place. I don't do anything crazy fancy. I think it's kind of redundant to spend a ton of money on a garden when you want to kind of save money. Do you know what I mean? So here you can even see that I have saved plastic containers over the year. When people come over my house and they bring baked goods, I save them. I also do use these Jiffy seed starting strips. I know some people like to, use egg cartons and eggshells, but I do the Jiffy starting seeds with some of them. I do organic seed starting mix, and here you can see, this is my favorite thing ever. I will have this linked in my Amazon store. This is a photo holder. But I use it for my seeds. I actually think I'm going to have to get another one because my seed collection is getting bigger. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going through and seeing like what I have, my inventory. Today, what I ended up doing, which I recommend, is you don't want to get super hoardy, if you know what I mean, with your seeds, because if you start to keep a ton of seeds, they will start to expire. And seeds that get older and older, they tend to have lower germination rates. So today I had some seeds from 2020 and 2021 that I'm very confident will have decent germination, but we wanted to get those used up. So today my main goal was peppers. So I found all of the peppers that I could find and some other items that I wanted to start a little bit earlier because we're going to be trying out some new methods of gardening. And so I pulled a couple things like cabbage and broccoli, which technically don't need to be started, this soon, but we're going to do it anyway. So again, this is such a wonderful way to organize your seeds by the type of vegetable, the variety, herbs, flowers. I'm noticing here that some of this stuff wasn't put away super great last year. We were really tired, and if you have multiple kids like we do, you notice that during seasons when you are pregnant, or if you are a dad and you have a child that is, super young, newborn stage, you tend to just kind of get by in those first year or two. And so last year, I had just had my baby. He had turned 1 in July, and so I was just tired, and we're trying to do all these things and also deal with our littlest and our second child are 18 months apart. So it's just great, but it can be really trying. So I'm noticing here that things were not put away super great. So I'm just kind of like reorganizing, and this is something that I ended up doing later on. So here, and this is another prime example. So we reuse our trays every single year. And in that little clip, you are seeing me washing the trays because, again, we grow our seeds, the trays get tossed to the side, and they are full of dirt. So I should get better at putting things away, but, we don't. So that's just the way it is. So here you can see just, getting all my stuff organized. I have a big bowl. I use a wooden spoon. I add some organic seed starting mix to the bowl. I'm going to add water. Now, this is really important. You do not want to saturate your seed starting mix. The seed starting mix is meant to not be saturated. If you are squeezing it and water is coming out of it, you need to add more seed starting mix because it is too wet. You just want to dampen it. So some people don't even put water in their seed starting mix before they put their seeds in. Some people will take the soil right out of the bag. They'll fill their little containers or their cells, and they will just spray it with some water. That is also another great way to do it. I just have learned this way, and this is just the way that works for us. So you'll see me add some seed starting mix to the container. I'm then going to add about 2 or 3 cups of water, which I think was too much, and then I'm going to add a little bit more seed starting mix. The nice thing about the way I do it is I start so many seeds that there really isn't an error issue. If you were only doing like a few seeds, then I could understand there would be no need to add all the soil to a bowl and then add water. It just wouldn't make sense. You would have a ton left over, and then you wouldn't have anything to do with it. So I start about 500 seeds a year, so whatever is left will be used in the coming week. And so that is what I do here. And you can see I'm getting ready to add the soil to the bowl. I just use a huge bowl. This is the bowl that I make like all my chocolate chip cookies in. So it's fine. I just do that, and then I just use a wooden spoon. I'm not really weird about that. I will just wash the items and they will later be fine. So here I'm going to add some seed starter, and then I'm going to add some water. Again, you don't want to saturate your seed starting mix because what happens, and a lot of amateur gardeners, they notice this, they'll start their seeds, they will use soil that is really, really moist. They will put it in their greenhouse or on a ledge, wherever they're starting seeds. They'll have lights on it, and then unfortunately it just starts growing mold, and that is just something that I feel like we all probably have made that mistake. It's happened to me, and I've learned. It's just something that it's kind of like trial and error. And see here I'm testing it out, and I'm gonna squeeze it really hard, and I'm gonna see some water come through it, and then I'm gonna be like, I don't like that. So here, I'm bringing it over to show you. So You can see that it's kind of crumbly, but see how there was some water that came out of that? That means that this is just a little bit too saturated, so I'm going to add some more seed starting mix, which is what I'm going to do right now. Also, for those who are not sure about seed starting, who have never done it before, you want your seeds to get between 15 to 18 hours of light per day. So you can set your thing on it. You can set your lights on a timer. For me, I kind of go towards the low end, and I've never really had a problem. It's really just ease of use for me. So I will wake up in the morning, I will come downstairs, I will turn the lights on, and then when I go to bed, I will turn them off. If you tend to wake up late and go to bed early, you will definitely need to have a timer. If you don't have a timer and you don't give your seeds enough light, you will get something that is called leggy. Leggy seedlings are when they just sprout up really, really tall, really fast. That's actually a really big problem because it means that your seedlings have not gotten enough light. They are raising their bodies to the sky to get as much light as they can, and they're just growing really fast. But it's not a positive growth that is happening. So you want to keep your lights really nice and low on your seedlings. You want to keep them covered with plastic, a plastic dome. If you're using resealable food containers, you want to have that lid on. If you are using containers such as strawberry or blueberry, fruit containers that have the holes on the bottom, you're going to want to wrap the bottom of those in saran wrap. You want a really nice humid environment for your seeds to grow. You don't want to go too humid, so you will see that I have a very inexpensive thermometer that is linked in my store, and you can reach perfect humidity by doing that and buying that and keeping it in your makeshift greenhouse. You do not need an indoor greenhouse if you so choose to not have one, but you will need to have your items domed, and you will need to have light really nice and close to your seeds. So here I am just taking and I'm filling up. So now this is kind of like a little hack, and you can do this if you want. You don't have to, but I usually fill the cells only a little bit less than halfway full. It's not perfect. You can see some of them are like lower than others. It's really not a big deal. Some people get really, really particular about that. I don't, but I fill the cells about halfway, and then I just add a little bit of dirt, and I don't fill them all the way to the top. And I do this for a reason. I like to try to keep my seedlings in their containers as long as possible before transplanting, something that other people also don't do. So something that I do is I like to have really hardy seeds that I transplant into my garden. And so I will transplant my seedlings into bigger containers once or twice before they go into my garden in the summer. And I do that because I want really strong, vibrant plants. And I also do that because I sell plants, and people don't want to buy a plant that is in a little tiny 1-inch cell like the ones I'm using here. People like to buy nice hardy tomato plants and nice hardy pepper plants. And when they're in 4-inch pots and they're nice and hardy and ready to go in the ground, that makes them more appealing. So here you can see that I am just pulling all of my seeds from as far back as I could find them. I don't know when this one is, maybe 2019. I can't really tell. 2020. So we're going to use those up. And I actually wish that I would have not have used my cells for these. I wasn't thinking clearly when I was doing this. I should have used my old seeds on my plastic reusable containers, because I would have just sprinkled them all together, and whatever germinated. I'm using more precious real estate by using these cells, but that's okay. So you normally can do 2 to 3 seeds per cell, and then you'll once they sprout, you'll pull the weakest, and you'll keep 2 in each cell. You can either wait a little bit longer and then pull another one out and just have one nice strong plant, or you can be like me and I let the 2 go at it, and then I will separate the 2 that are strong that are left in one cell, and then I will transplant them each into their own 3-inch pot or their own little area, and then I will let them grow. And so I get more real estate out of my plants this way. Here you can see I'm going to take a little bit of soil and just cover the tops of the cells that I use to put my seeds in. You do not want to over cover these seeds. You also don't want to press down hard. I always gently tap. It's just something that I do, but if you press them hard, you're not going to give them the room that they need to germinate. You also don't need a lot of soil because they're tiny little seeds, and if you put a ton of soil over top of them, they're just going to have to work that much harder to, germinate and get to the, through the soil. So I just do a little bit, and you can just see I'm just kind of gently tapping it down. You also want to make sure that you do cover all the seeds. Something that's also awesome, like I mentioned earlier, is using reusable containers to start your seeds in. So people have a really big problem with plastic, and to be honest, I don't like plastic either, but it has a purpose. And why not, if you're gonna buy something at the store in plastic, or if you're gonna be given something, someone comes over and brings baked goods, just reuse it. So I store these up and I reuse them, and now these will be used again next year. A simple wash and they are perfectly good. Something I want to mention, because you saw earlier that I was washing those black trays, and some people might be like, well, it's just going to get dirty again anyway. Why do I need to wash it? You need to make sure that anything that you are starting your seeds in, or that you are putting your seeds in, like to sit in, like those black trays, they need to be washed, because there is bacteria in the trays, in the containers, if they're unwashed, and you can get a problem with your seeds. They might not germinate. They could get moldy. You could have some type of rot. So we want to make sure that we're using clean containers. And look how awesome that is. It's like a little dome. It's perfect. It's like its own sustainable greenhouse. Here Thomas is getting ready to help me. He is really engaged in the seed starting process. Since he was like 1.5, he's been helping me. When he was 1.5 too, all I did was give him a little bowl with some soil and a spoon. He, thought he was really helping out, and it was really good for him to feel included. But now that he's 5, he is really, learning the actual process and being an active helper, and it's just such it's so rewarding to watch him grow every year. And as soon as he saw the greenhouse come in, he was like, oh, I want to help. And so I'm now at the age where I'm able to show him exactly what he needs to do, and it's just really rewarding. So here he was able to spread some old seeds. I'm going to cover it up for him. He's seeing the whole process. And then I have a lot of confidence that next year when he's 6, he'll probably be doing this beside me without any help at all, which is just so fun. It's such a blessing. And I'm just so excited that I get to share this with him. He is just my little helper. And from the moment he was able to understand what I was doing, he was just super engaged. And I'm just so thankful that I have a son, my firstborn, that is just, really engaged in what I do. And so we're doing that here together, and it's just such a nice moment that we get to spend together. Something else that you want to make sure that you do and you don't forget, another rookie mistake that I think I've made probably almost every year in some way, shape, or form, but you want to make sure that you label your seeds. And now I've always labeled my seeds, but every once in a while I'll put the label for seeds in a cell pack. So you know how there's different rows, as you can see here. So like, let's say one row is jalapenos, and then like the next 2 rows are also jalapenos. Well, I'll forget to label the next starting pepper, like let's say it's serrano, and I'll forget to put it in the proper seed category, and it'll just be, I'll have jalapenos and serrano peppers everywhere, and I just don't know which ones are which. So even though in my head I was doing it the right way, I still didn't do it the right way. So just remember to label your seeds, and if you're not comfortable with multiple rows of the same seed, just label every row if you need to label every row. If you look on the far right side too, you can see that I have a random label sticking out of the middle of the tray towards the back. That is just a label that says that I started the seed tray on the 25th. So that is just something that you can do if you want to. It's nice to know, and it's nice to label when you start the tray. So then if you're, for some reason, like it's been 2 weeks and nothing's germinating, you can be like, maybe that was a bad batch of seeds. It's just good to know so you don't forget. So here I am getting everything organized. This is probably the most annoying part. If I'm going to be completely honest, and I'm always going to be transparent with you guys, this is probably the most annoying part because it's just a lot of wires. And this is, I'm just going to be completely honest, one of the things that you are going to come across is if you don't buy expensive lighting strips, which I don't. I just find spending $100 or $200 on, grow lights is just kind of counterproductive to saving money with growing your own food. Now, if I was like a producer and I was a gardener that, sold a ton of my produce, then it would pay for itself quickly. But as a backyard gardener on a very small scale, just for my family, I just don't find the value in that. If you want to do that, and if you have all your debt paid off, then you can totally do that. Maybe one day when we have our all of our student loans and our house paid off, I will invest in a really high-end seed starting, production. But right now, I'm just happy with these clamp lights. It just takes a little longer, and you have to be really, just have patience. And so I have 2 strips, which you'll probably see on the floor. I have 2 strips, like, those power strips, and each power strip I think has 5 outlets. So I just arrange my lights, and I try to make it as safe as possible, which I will show you at the end. And I get all my grow lights up. I have different types of grow lights. I had a question from my friend this week, and she was asking me, like, can you explain the difference in grow lights? So I am not a seasoned professional with the different types of grow lights. I just know what works for me, and I'm going to link the light bulbs that have worked for me in our Amazon store. I feel personally like the grow lights that are purple, that release that purple light, they don't work for us as well. And I do have probably 6 of those bulbs, and I do use them just because I'm not going to not use them because I have them. But they're the clear, strong lights that I have that are also grow lights just tend to work better for me. And you're going to see that I'll scatter the purple ones within, but I also, I won't leave a purple light on just one spot. I will rotate my clamps. So for example, if I have a purple bulb on, one half of a tray, 2 days later, I'll switch that bulb and I'll put it in a different location. That way, all of my vegetables are getting, different lights on them. And I've just never had a problem. I mean, my system works so well. You can see my lights here. These are the clear ones that I have so far put up. And I've just never had a problem. I have an abundance of things that grow. I never have leggy vegetable seedlings, and I just have a bounty every year at harvest time. And so this is a very simple, inexpensive method, and I'm not going to fix something that's not broken. Here you can see I'm just getting all the labels in, and I'm getting all the lights set up. So this is just a really rewarding process, guys, and I hope that you found some value in this today. I'm going to be coming back next week. You're going to see every step of the way once the greenhouse is full. I will show you everything that I've planted. We will walk through why we planted it and how we're going to transplant it in the garden. We're going to talk about everything. So right now is a perfect time to get all of your seeds that you want to get started this year. You should buy seeds that your family enjoys eating, so vegetables that your family enjoys. It is also fun to try and experiment with some things. I actually got a couple long beans this year that I am so excited to work with. So a couple things that are weird and new and different are fun, but basically you want to start with foods that you're going to eat all the time. Have a great day, guys.